Hi guys, I'm Phil Snowden, the fat loss and performance coach here at Meta Evolution Gym in Chatham. Hello, how are you doing? And welcome along to today's video on habits. So having a look here then, this is what's known as a nerve cell, okay? Basically, we are surrounded by nerve cells that are everywhere in the body and they're responsible for everything we do. Basically, we have our cell nucleus here, or center in the middle here. Obviously, this is our cell. Along down the middle here is our axon terminal, where we send electrical messages down to these nerve endings that give us the response that we require from the mind, basically. This fatty tissue here, beg your pardon, is what's known as the mainline sheath, and it was found what's deteriorated it in people with multiple sclerosis, for instance, as well. I'll have a little fact for you. So at the end of this cell here, we can see we've got these little hand things, okay, these spindly fingers. These are known as dendrites, and they are what receive messages. Now, when we're thinking about habits and habit forming, these dendrites actually grow, okay? So when we're starting a new habit, they start to reach out and transfer and hold on to other nerve endings so that we create this new bond. Okay. Now, if we start to reduce those habits, or how often that we do them, for instance, like if you was to go away after driving for a long, if you was to go away on holiday, for instance, and then you come back and you get back in the car, it all feels a bit weird and uncomfortable. It's because these dendrites have kind of reduced and shriveled up, and then as soon as you get back into it, they sort of ground and expand again. Now, when we're learning new habits, when these connections start to connect, obviously, when they start to connect, we start to create new neurological pathways. Now, if you imagine a footpath, okay, starts off very narrow, and then as we start to go down that path, okay, and we start to venture out and explore a little bit more, we come to a pavement, maybe slightly wider. Then we start to get into the main roads where we're coming along to a B road that obviously fits a car along. Then we go on to our dual carriageway and then our motorway, which is an expanded pathway, if you like. Now, with experience, obviously we start off walking down the pathways, then we obviously move on to the B roads, then we move on to the highway or the motorway. That kind of analogy is what is used here when we're thinking about new habits and forming new habits. First off, we start on the footpath, then we expand and keep doing those habits, get better at them, then that expands into our B roads. We keep forming those habits, that then turns into a motorway, and then that's where these whole structures have combined together and we get that fixed habit or routine, if you like, and things become a lot easier and almost we do them naturally. So what's that got to do with anything? Well, we're all about forming new habits, and for any weight loss program or just doing anything, frankly, you need to get into a habit. In fact, that 40% of anything that we do is based on habits, okay? So there's different types of motivation that we can use to help us. Okay, so if you see here, we've got intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So intrinsic motivation is that all the internal stuff makes us feel better, that's why we do it. Okay, the extrinsic stuff is like external rewards. So for instance, people who are money motivated, they'll get bonuses for achieving said target. However, what we've found in studies is the extrinsic or external motivators only last for a short period of time and can have quite a negative effect as well. So for instance, imagine in the weight loss scenario, we got someone who says, right, okay, I'm gonna set myself a target and lose 2 pounds every week, okay? And every time I lose 2 pounds, I'm gonna buy something new for myself. So the first week, drop 2 pounds, obviously get to buy something new. The following week, drop 2 pounds, get to buy something new. The third week, drop 2 pounds, buy something new. The fourth week, we don't drop 2 pounds, we don't drop any weight. So it means that, one, we've got a kicker because we haven't achieved our target of dropping 2 pounds, which is going to make us feel very disappointed in ourselves. And two, that means I can't buy myself something new. Oh, God's sake. And then that kind of beats ourselves up, and then that's where we start to break, and those habits that we've been forming start to shrivel because we become demotivated. So in the intrinsic motivators here then, how do we get ourselves intrinsically motivated? Well, we have to think outside the box a little bit. So if you imagine you may currently hate going to the gym, okay? You absolutely hate it. So how could you improve your experience? Well, say for instance you have a particular taste in music that you don't get to listen to very often. I don't know, thrash metal for instance, okay? Everyone around you hates thrash metal, so you never get a chance to really kind of listen to some thrash metal, all right? So what about if we mix something that we hate with something that we love, okay? So for instance, we love listening to music, okay, i.e. thrash metal in this instance. We hate going to the gym, okay? So what about if we connect the two together? That experience then becomes a little bit more enjoyable. So then we are creating these new branches and new formations with these dendrites, connecting those pathways. And the more that we keep doing that and recognizing that the more we go to the gym, we get to listen to our favourite type of music, the stronger those pathways become, and eventually they'll turn into motorways, if you like, and the bond becomes much stronger and the habit becomes much stronger. So we're just using the analogy here for listening to music. It could be you don't get a chance to read, so that you might listen to an audible book or something like that, and that could be your downtime to listen to an audio book while you're at the gym. So cutting the audio stuff out, what about if you like socialising but you hate the gym, okay? Well, how could you mix the two there? Well, if you like socialising and you like having a natter like after your classes and you like meeting people and hanging out with people, maybe classes might be the route to go down. So for instance, you may hate going to the gym, you hate the gym, okay, but you love a natter, okay? We now can connect those because we can go to the gym, I don't know, we might even go with a friend, or we might go to the classes and meet other like-minded people who are just like us, who also hate the gym but also love a little natter as well. So now we're connecting those two together. So it becomes more of an internal reward because our mind and those motor neural pathways recognise the habit being enjoying the gym, and actually people aren't hating the gym but enjoying a social. So it becomes entwined. Now when we're starting a new habit, I spoke before on another video about the habit cycle. So this is the process for any new habit that we're creating. So effectively we need a cue or a trigger. Okay, that sets off our routine or action. And then that gives us our reward, okay, just like so. So something will kick us off into a routine, and then at the end of that, we'll find some kind of reward, okay? So say for instance, it gets to the afternoon, okay, you're feeling slightly peckish, and you've got a bit of a sweet tooth and you need some energy because you're bonking. You're like, right, okay, or I'll just have a Kit Kat. Okay, 2-finger Kit Kat, all right? So you have a 2-finger Kit Kat every day when you're at work at 3 o'clock. Okay, so that was our cue. It's 3 o'clock, you're having a cup of tea. So the routine would be to obviously have the Kit Kat, and the reward would be to satisfy that sweet tooth. Well, we know that's a kind of negative, particularly if we're looking for fat loss. Okay, so we need to either change the cue or change the routine. So for instance, if we're looking to eat better, we could possibly have, when we get to 3 o'clock, we get that sweet tooth craving. If we was to have an apple in front of us on the table, because we respond much better to visual cues, then we're more likely to eat the apple, okay? And the reward would be two things. One, we're eating more healthier, and two, we recognise that we're eating more healthier, so we feel better about ourselves, i.e. more internally or intrinsically motivated. Let's take, for instance, you want to go and train first thing in the morning. We all said it, right, okay, first thing in the morning before work, I'm going to get up and go and train. 6 o'clock in the morning comes, your alarm goes off, you're like, oh, God, you hit the snooze button, okay? Roll over, duvet over. Now, there's no visual cue other than some really annoying audible sound going off to make us get our asses out of bed. So bearing in mind, I've said we respond better to visual cues. Probably the better habit that we could start forming is putting our trainers and our kit by our bed so that when we wake up, when the alarm goes off, we see our trainers, and then we're making a conscious decision to get up and go out. And the new action would be obviously getting up, going for the run, The reward being getting the benefits from running and doing some cardiovascular exercise, but also that intrinsic motivation that you pulled your ass out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning to go for a run. Hope that's helped out, guys. Until next time, keep it real.